What's up, good people? I hope you're doing extremely well. Man, I'm having a great day out here. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about why being patient is so important for success. And I'm not just talking about financial success or monetary success, if you want to call it that. I am talking about just success, period. Success in relationships, just anything across the board. Why being patient is so important in those things. I think we have to really realize that sometimes we are looking at life or looking at other situations that other people are going through a lens of a completeness that is not really there. So, in other words, we kind of see the end results of things. We see that, someone is at a specific place in their life, and we see that as an end result that we want to attain. And we're not really conscious of the work that it took for that person to get to that end result. So we start to chip away at what we are able to do in terms of time. And we don't think about it in terms of, hey, that person might have, taken 10 to even longer, 10 years or longer to get to the point where they're doing whatever they're doing effortlessly, or they're thriving in whatever they're doing. Not saying that all things take that long, but you have to be conscious that just because you see an end result of something or see someone in a specific light doesn't mean that they did not, go through something over a period of time. And it takes patience. Even if you do see those prodigy type situations where someone may be, experiencing something right off, the first time they try something, or the first time you see them try something, they may be able to pick those things up. There still may be a level of patience that someone else had to have to get them to that point. Meaning that, they may not be the person that had to have that level of patience, but someone else, like a parent or a guardian or someone else that was nurturing them through that process, might have had to have patience. So it all kind of ties in. Like, you really can't judge what's happening to you in that term, or to you in that sense, by what you're seeing before you. And I think that's one of the real dangers that we kind of fall into in terms of our patience and how we're being patient about the things that we want to do. We spend too much time looking at, other people's accomplishments and what other people are able to do. And it really, it can really derail what you are able to do, because you are, in your mind, you're thinking, hey, I don't have enough patience for that, or I don't have, enough time to do that or get to that level. But it really takes you, sitting down with what you're capable of doing. And this is the point I want to make. Like, patience is really about what you're interested in. So if you're interested in something, if you have an interest in something, you're actually going to be able to spend more time doing it. So it's really, being patient and being more patient really comes down to being honest with yourself about what you're interested in, and really being able to put those things in front of you and say, how do I make these things that I'm interested in the focus that's going to help me grow in all areas of my life? And it's really that simple. Like, if you really take a real good look at, people who say for instance, someone who has a singing career, or someone who has, someone who's a doctor or a lawyer or anything else, if they're successful at that, they've actually spent the time it takes to really perfect that specific thing, because they had an interest in it. And even if they had interest in other things, they didn't deviate from that specific thing. They gave themselves enough time, doing that specific thing, to really nurture it and grow at it. And that's really what it comes down to. So the patience muscle that kind of starts to flex when you are interested in something really revolves around your interest. That's what it is. It really revolves around how dedicated you are to that specific thing. So, really putting those things down and saying, hey, this is what I'm interested in. I'm going to give some time and effort to this. I'm going to be patient about, this specific thing. And that goes with like relationships too. Like, a lot of times I think relationships don't last with people because, there's different phases of everything, right? So you have like, the early phase or the meeting or the honeymoon phase of things where people, they experience this elation of feelings when they get involved with whatever, or a relationship with someone or whatever they're doing. And, after that phase, you go into kind of a realization phase of, okay, let me really chip back the layers and evaluate what I really have here. What value can I bring to the table, and what value can that person bring to the table? And I think during those phases, people really get caught up on, the impatience of, the honeymoon phase is over. You know what I'm saying? So you don't get to, really get through to the other side of that, which is those things come back in cycles. You have new rejuvenated interests in whoever you are with, because it's cyclical. You actually get to a point of learning more about that person or learning more about the things that you are pursuing if you are patient enough to get to the other side of that. But the problem is, people at large are not patient enough to get to the other side and really enjoy the benefits of being able to see that. So I think we as people, we have to really be able to take ourselves out of the impatient mode that we're in to really benefit from what we're going after. You'll find that, the people that do get to that point of completion and are able to benefit from, the things that they do, it's because they have gone through that point or that period of patience in their life. And once you have that patience, you're able to get to that point, to that next phase of enjoyment. If you start going through your steps, thinking about, what other people are doing, then those aren't your steps. Those aren't your steps. What those are just an interpretation of steps based on what you see in somebody else do. So you really have to think about that. You really have to make sure that you are, completing your steps and completing what you need to complete for you without, attaching all the other things that, are someone else is experiencing to that. Don't allow somebody else's experience to cloud what your experience is based on where you think they are, based on where you think the end result is. And that's really, the key. Like, what's your end result? If your end result is, to achieve XYZ, then let it be that. Don't try to go do ABC because you see that as a possibility of somebody else. Like, no, do XYZ because that's your end result. Those are going to help you achieve your end result. I hope you guys excuse all of the noise out here. We're actually walking through the park and there's a lot of traffic coming by. Being patient is actually faster than the alternative. And the alternative sometimes is you ripping and running and trying to, get to somewhere faster. You're trying to cheat the system. You're trying to do all these things that you think are going to get you somewhere faster. And it's not. Being patient is actually faster because when you're patient, you're able to work at your own pace, have less of a headache, have less setbacks because you're not ripping and running trying to create work for yourself to get there faster. Yeah, and that's one of the things that we don't realize. When you are not patient, you actually create extra work for yourself trying to cheat the system or trying to, manipulate your way through the end result to the end result of something. You actually create more work. That's the funny thing. A lot of people think that, they're cutting corners and they're shaving time off of what they're doing. You're just creating more work. You're doing what we call, what we like to call hustling in reverse. And I'm going to do a whole video series about hustling in reverse because I think there's something that a lot of people know they're doing, but it needs to be said. It definitely needs to be said. So we'll talk about that in another video, but I think, you have to understand when you're doing that. You got to know that you can't cut corners with some things. Some things you're just going to have to go through the process. You're going to have to be patient and spend the time that it takes to do it. That's just point blank what it is. And once you realize that, the funny thing is, once you realize that patience is your problem, and you're able to really master patience in your life, everything you want to do, you can do. Anything you want to do, you can do. Because then you have a roadmap to success. Patience is really, literally that. It's a roadmap to success. Because taking steps are just taking steps. There's nothing else outside. If you know, if I start right here and I do these 3 steps, I'm going to get to this result, right? Take those steps. It's just like following directions. So if you, for instance, if you're cooking, right, and you're making a specific recipe, and you have the recipe in front of you, and you know all the steps, they're right laid out right there. You know all the ingredients you got to get. You know how much time, how much measurement, how much you have to measure this to do this. You know all the steps, and you sit down with that recipe and you start to make it, and then you say, man, I got to go over here. I got to go over here and do this real quick. And you don't take that step of being patient and sitting down and watching the food blossom, what's going to happen? You're going to burn it. You're going to either burn it, you're going to miss something, you're going to leave out one ingredient, you're going to do something where the food is not going to be what it's supposed to be because you aren't allowing yourself to be patient and go through each step. It's as simple as that. You cannot cheat the steps of patience. Let me repeat, you cannot cheat the steps of patience. If you're going to be patient, you got to be patient. That's all it is. If you're going to be patient at something, if something you want to do requires patience, you're going to have to be patient. You cannot cheat the steps of patience. There's no way around it. I don't care what you do. You can want to be an airline pilot. You can want to be a teacher. You can want to be anything in life. But if you are not able to be patient and go through the steps it takes to be great at that particular thing, I'm sorry to tell you, you won't be able to do it. And that's just period. Now you can fake it. And you'll hear a lot of people say, fake it till you make it. You can fake and look like something, like one of those things. Like you can put on all the clothes, you can put on the sports gear, you can put on, the uniform of an airline pilot, but that won't make you an airline pilot, my friend. It won't. I'm sorry. It just won't do it. Faking it will not do it. You can't fake your way through anything. You have to be able to take the steps and get from point A to point B. That's period. I don't care what you want to be. You cannot fake the steps. So really take heed to that, please. And, always remember that you are what you make yourself. You are what you make yourself. You can do anything if you are committed to what you want to do and take the steps to get there. Always remember that. I hope this is helpful to someone, and we'll see you in the next one.